guys, welcome back. Fun fact, I actually recorded this video earlier today wherein it was bright and sunny outside and I had a perfectly shaded spot and it was lovely and enjoyable, and 90% of the way through the video the battery on my computer died and took all of that footage with it. So, you know. Long story short, I'm feeling better now. More optimistic, less put together than I was earlier, but I am more here than I was after that debacle. So, for those of you who don't know, I am recently back from a short, long mental health hiatus since mid-May. I have a video I need to edit from then that I just abandoned halfway through. Because, long story short, people are weird, brains are weird, I am especially weird, and I don't have people are weird, brains are weird. My brain was in an especially weird place. That's how I want to put that. So, what's really happening right now is I'm getting used to using my voice again. I'm getting used to being a person with a face and a voice on this platform again. I wasn't too used to it the first time, so I'm probably never going to get too used to it. I am mostly just really proud of myself that I am still here. I am still posting. I don't feel too heavy or pressured about it, especially right now. A couple of days ago, my grandma passed away. And that's been a pile of not dealing with it. Just not dealing with it. When, really all I want to do is go back to being 5 years old and hiding in her storage closet, waiting for my cousins to find me. Yeah. But part of my not dealing with it is I am still trying to do things. But I'm being gentle with myself. I am being sorta. That's kind of what this video is about. It's, now that I'm back, I'm getting back into a mindset of progress and moving forward, letting things happen, doing stuff, making progress on my goals. Because I gave up on a lot of them, and I'm not giving up on them. And that's about that with where I'm at. So I thought for this video it would be good / helpful to kind of go on a brain dump about what my goals were and how my priorities have shifted from there. Let's see. My script is on my computer. Don't judge me for moving it. Yeah, so I set these goals for myself in 2019 before Christmas. So, I'll let you draw your own assumptions about what 2019 Spence thought 2020 was going to be like, but 2020 has been terrible for everybody thus far. 2020 is trash. Just throw it right in the garbage. I'm over it. There's a lot of stuff that's happened so far this year that I would really like to keep. I have But yeah, just the bulk of it, throw it in the trash. Can you tell I'm not used to this, even though I did this earlier today? But here's a breakdown of the goals I had for myself in when I was being optimistic for 2020. I had a couple of different categories. I'm pretty sure, I think there's a video where I broke them all down. If I ever put that video out, no one knows anymore. No one's ever going to know. But one of the sections in my bullet journal was educational, how I wanted to grow as a person, how I wanted to learn. I had assigned myself to take 21 Skillshare classes and 21 American Sign Language classes, and I took 2 of both. I canceled my Skillshare membership in March because all of a sudden the mini nerd was home and it is impossible for me to focus on something like that while he's home. And 2 classes over 3 months was not I'm doing it. I wasn't doing very well on it to begin with. So I canceled it. I have no regrets. I don't miss it. I love Skillshare. I think they do a lot of good for a lot of people, but I'm apparently not one of them. I have a lot fewer excuses on the American Sign Language because those were much quicker. I already have kind of a very vague base understanding of, like, I knew my mom taught me how to do the ABCs when I was a kid, and that's really why I want to learn, is like, I have one of my anxiety twitches is I'll be going through the store and just down by the side I will spell out on my hands what I'm thinking, but it's just spelling it. And I want to learn how to actually do sign language because of that. And I'm only taking 2 classes. That I think I can still do the 21. I think I can fix that because I want to start including my mini nerd, who is 6, in with these lessons. He has shown that he's been very interested in it. I think he will really appreciate doing it with me, and it will be a way to keep me accountable towards something that I just really want to do. I don't know why. I don't know anybody who is, like, in person, who would actually benefit from me knowing sign language, other than just, like, typing. I don't know anybody who uses sign language, but I want to know. Next up was my reading goals, which have gone so far off the rails, it's not even funny. I had set out this year to read 16 books, finishing off this 19-book list from a self-editing, like, checklist book. I will link that list down below, the blog that I got that list from. You will find it down there. I abandoned that. I didn't abandon it, because I still plan on finishing reading it at some point. I just got hella distracted. I was also supposed to read 9 high fantasy books, that is fantasy that takes place on an entirely different universe. I abandoned that. I was supposed to really immerse myself in the H.P. Lovecraft works, and I am a very out of the loop person. I did not know a lot of his personal views on human rights and how people are people until this year, and once I found that, I could not unsee it, and I could not get any enjoyment out of his work, so I abandoned that. I will probably come back to it later when it angers me a little less. I don't know, that's the right way to say it. When I can still read it and I can still, like, deal with not unseeing it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it made it really hard for me to enjoy after that. And maybe eventually someday I will. Until then, I am definitely looking for recommendations for more of the cosmic horror from people who aren't garbage. And don't put the garbage subliminally, subtly. Like, I don't want to read stuff by garbage people. At least not this year. But I really got sidetracked in my reading goals by Tamara Wood's book club, Creative Craft Book Club. I joined them for the Writing Dazzling Dialogue one, which was a phenomenal book. So helpful. I love it. It is going to be one of those books that lives on my desk as a reference book for my drafting and my rewriting forever. And then I joined them for Authorpreneur, which was a very different experience. I didn't like it. Nobody liked it. Nobody likes this book. It's like trying to turn being a writer into being a boss babe, but it's written by like a Matt D'Avella. Is that how you pronounce his name? I don't think I can say his name on my mouth, but it's like trying to turn it into a Matt D'Avella wannabe kind of thing. I don't know. The picture of the guy just reminded me of him in a like in a not good way. He is the Walmart version of Matt D'Avella. And that's coming from someone who pretty much exclusively has to shop at Walmart because small towns and lack of car. Anyways, so I read that, and then I read Romancing the Beat, which is a very helpful book. So I am working on my first romance novel this year. So Romancing the Beat was so helpful. And I followed that up with Save the Cat, which adds a lot of... I have mixed feelings about Save the Cat. Save the Cat writes a novel. At least I have not read the original Save the Cat. I really see how she broke down everything and how the original person broke down everything and how it works. I prefer John Truby's Anatomy of Story and the 22 Steps, and yeah, but I don't have a copy of that, and I have a copy of Save the Cat Writes a Novel, so I'm using Save the Cat Writes a Novel for reference for now. My current read, as far as craft writing books goes, is I am trying out Story Genius. It's like right off the back of Save the Cat. I am really excited to get this one under my belt as well, so I can feel confident in my drafting again. Like there's not something in the back of my mind being like, well, you just had to finish. There's another thing. You're going to have to redo it anyways because you have that other book right there. I like making excuses for myself. Anyways. Once I finish that, I'll get to move on to more fiction again. As far as fiction goes this year, I have read 2 books. I have read Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. I loved it so much. So good. Nona Gray is... I love Nona Gray. I could see a lot of the stuff happening as it was happening. It is a book that is 90% cast by women, written by a man. And I feel like saying it was really good. I felt like it was very genuine, and like it was a very good version of a story about women, about girls, about young girls, and how friendships are formed and decided on, and all of that. It was done very well. I love the world that it's set in. It is fucking fascinating. I love Nona Gray as a character. I love her so much. I already have Grey Sister and Holy Sister, and I am dying to get into them, but it took me so long to get through Red Sister. Just so long. So I'm giving myself a little bit of a break in between each one. There are other craft books I read. I do remember that. There was Writing Down the Bones. That was a good one. I enjoyed that. It was very floofy and for poetry people, but it changed the way I thought about writing, and I thought about my notebooks, because she talked about filling notebooks the way I think about filling sketchbooks, which like blew my mind for a minute, and still kind of does. Anyways, the other fiction book I read so far this year, of the two, was Carol Brown's Queen of Sword and Silence. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. It was so freaking fun. I laughed and I cried in the same chapter. Like, I got so mad for a minute. My husband, Mr. Spence, came home and I was like sitting on the couch for a minute just like weeping. He was like, what's wrong? I was like, they made me cry. And he noticed I was holding a book and he was like, oh, okay, never mind. So yeah, definitely recommend both of those books. They are very enjoyable. The next up on my TBR, once I finish Story Genius? Yeah, brain blanked. Once I finish Story Genius, I'm going to be reading The Healer's Love by Kiera L. Rose. I have heard a lot of really good things about this book. Everybody who's read it so far has had just nothing but wonderful things to say. I broke my book buying ban to get this book. Everything else I purchased before the book buying ban, but the book buying ban was in place, and I bought this book anyways because I wanted it. I was also supposed to do 12 creative challenges this year. I abandoned 3 of them. There is a strong possibility I'm going to abandon August's, which was to draw 100 faces in 10 days, so like 10 faces a day for 10 days, and it's a whole thing, and I think with everything else going on in my world right now, and the fact that I've been in bed a lot because of things, I don't think I'm going to get to that. I think I'm going to put that one away for my mental health and skip ahead to September's when that comes up and just focus on the other goals that mean a little bit more to me. I was supposed to beat 6 video games. I have so far beaten 1. I beat Super Mario Odyssey in March. I'm also supposed to beat like Breath of the Wild and Fallout 4 and Undertale and Night in the Woods and Borderlands 3. And I have not touched most of these. I'm working on Fallout 4 and Breath of the Wild. My creative goals, like the goals where I create something, is a little bit more specific. And I broke it down like this by this by this by this. And it gets a little bit more mixed up from there. I was supposed to make 12 wearable pieces of clothing, like 12 wearable garments, and I've got 4 done so far, which is actually pretty impressive for me. I have a birdie dress, plaid skirt, black skirt, and a shift/petticoat thing. It's basically a white muslin skirt that you wear under other skirts to be comfortable and give more floof. I'm supposed to make 2 quilts. I am about 2/3 of the way done with one. I have not started the other. Don't anticipate starting the other. I barely anticipate finishing this one. I wanted to make a... Oh, look, the rain's getting loud again. I was supposed to make a 1700s costume a la I think it's Simplicity and American Duchess did a couple of patterns together. I purchased the patterns. I was going to make them. I don't think I'm going to get to all that this year. I might get the shift and the bum pad and maybe even the stays done if I can scrounge up enough of this stuff to have some cool 1700 stays. Like, it'll be like the underwear to my Outlander costume, and I'll see how wearing it under like normal clothes works for me because it looks really comfortable. I was supposed to make a Dolores cosplay for my sister, which I'm not even gonna bother. She really likes Westworld. She really likes Dolores' costumes, and I was gonna work with her to make a cosplay that works, and I don't care enough about it anymore. maybe if I had gotten the 1700s costume during the first half of the year made, we'd come back to it. Supposed to make 10 sticker and button designs. And while I technically did, I have a set of stickers on my Etsy already. I have another set that's ready to be ordered and should get ordered before the end of the month if I'm lucky, if I do the thing. And then I have several of my landscape paintings transferred into button designs. The only holdup on having buttons on my Etsy is my printer is not apparently good. My printer does not have high enough quality to print pretty images, which is fine. It was a free printer I got like 5 years ago. It prints my novels and my labels for the Saturday Bakery. I got it for free. The ink is cheap. I love it forever. Yeah. So that one's a little bit up in the air. Like, I have them designed. I have some of them ready to go. I have some listed on my Etsy, but I have other problems with production I need to work out next. It was also supposed to do 10 paintings that I really loved, which again, I technically did with my 100 Days of Landscapes that I did at the beginning of the year. If the video's not out of that soon, it will be. It requires editing, and I'm not editing right now because my brain's being particularly weird. So this one's going to be a mess. Good luck with that. Thanks for sticking around if you're here still. 22 minutes is a lot to listen to me talk. Yeah. So, but the spirit of the 10 paintings I really loved was I wanted to sit down and intentionally do paintings, projects. And I haven't even started, haven't even thought about it. Just I was also supposed to fill 3 sketchbooks this year. I should be finishing up with the second one. I am still working on the first one. I like my sketchbooks, but it has been a hard art year. When you start out with the 100 Days of Landscapes, and you can't. I mean, I did 100 paintings to start the year off, and I worked in my sketchbook at the same time. I used up a lot of momentum there, and I gotta get it back. Gotta get some of that back. But one of my biggest stretch goals this year was I wanted to write 250,000 words, 250,000. I am currently sitting at like 87,000. I should be at like 770,000. We're not going to talk about that. I do have a goal. My goals for this month, for the rest of August, are basically to get caught up on a lot of this, and that's not happening. If I'm lucky, I'll fill my sketchbook. If I'm lucky, I'll write 10,000 words. I don't have any projects I'm doing big drafts of. I'm doing a lot of planning, a lot of editing, a lot of learning. I'm ready for the next step in some of these projects, but I'm also going back to counting all the words I write like I'm supposed to, because when I set that goal, I was like, oh, every time I write a YouTube script, or every time I have a more than 2 paragraph brain dump on something, or whatever, and I haven't been doing that. I'm mean to myself. I make goals and then sabotage myself in that way, where I'll set up the goal that'll be possible with these rules, and then I'll only follow a very narrow few until I panic. Yeah. But honestly, I'm not upset about not being able to do most of these goals this year. Not just because of everything that's happened in 2020, but because I'm still really gonna try. 2020 has been so sideways in so many different ways. Do it later, honey. Unless you're just getting a slice of cheese. Mini nerd.
I'm gonna make this shirt, so let's go to the ice cream.
Go get daddy. Go make daddy do it.
Dad's gonna be yourself, and I'm gonna get
No.
you. No hunter in this video. But can I say hi?
No. Internet doesn't deserve you. You are too good for the internet. I don't think I'm going to get most of these goals done this year. I honestly would be surprised if I got any of them. And I don't really care. I'm going to try. I really am. But with 2020 being as sideways as it's been, I feel like that's the most we can ask ourselves, is to just try. I've never been this far out of my comfort zone for this long. I've never been this far out of my box for this long. I spend so much time in that narrow frame of how I can express myself, and I've not gone back into that yet. It's so frightening, and never been outside for this long. And I've also never had the support I've had for this long. Not just in my not just in the physical realm, in my personal life, and this, and having like the best friends a person can ask for. Like, quick side note, you cannot ask for better friends than the ones I have. Like, when I got married last October, 3 of my best friends, 3 women, drove by themselves for over 11 hours each to come to my wedding. For me, they would not have come for Mr. Spence. And it's like, I've never felt in my whole life until this year just that level of support and care and love. And AuthorTube has been such a big part of that. The AuthorTube community has meant so much to me already. Like, I've never felt so welcome before in a community space, in a writer space. I've never felt so much love for other people in this community space as I do with you guys on AuthorTube. Now, I've met some of the best people through these screens, through the chat hangouts, through all of that. And knowing you guys is a privilege I never want to take for granted. Ever. Anyways, the rest of this month is going to be trying to get caught up. I want to try to get to 80,000 words. I already know I'm going to fail. I have a funeral for my grandma to go to this. Aiden, go wait until I am done.
I want ice cream, but Daddy doesn't want me.
Well, it's too late for ice cream now.
Why?
Because it's bedtime. Tomorrow. Stop. No. It is too late for that much sugar. It is too late for stuff with that much sugar in it. Anyways, the rest of August is going to be me trying to get kind of caught up as much as I can. I want to do more than I honestly should be expecting of myself. Like, this next week is basically just going to be a complete write-off. I'm making over like 100 onion bread dinner rolls. That was my grandma's recipe for the family get-together after her funeral this Thursday. And there is just so much I want to be doing and so little I have the energy for. It's, you know, I am very good. I'm doing a very good job at the compartmentalization, but it's still exploding out of me in little bursts. And today was the second day in a row where I spent most of the day in bed. So I know that's not a sustainable or long-term solution to any of this. But thank you for watching. Thank you for staying. Hopefully you all are doing much better on your goals for this year than I am. I am still in the process of adapting and figuring out what I want, what I can reasonably expect myself to accomplish. Because I still want to do all of these things. I still want to accomplish all these goals. But it's not reasonable for me to do in the next 4 months. Like, we're supposed to be moving at some point in here too, and it sucks because these are all goals I want to do. Like, I don't want the accomplishment. I don't want to have done them. I want to do them. I want the process. I have learned so much from the few sewing projects that I did have. Like, with the birdie dress, the dress is a hot mess. I messed up everything on it multiple times, several meltdowns. But I have a semi-functional garment. It needs some repairs, desperately, but I have a semi-functional garment that is pretty and comfortable and suits me as best as I could for a first project. You know, I learned I don't have that much patience for hand sewing unless it's simple stuff. Unless it's not me finishing seams. I don't have the patience to finish seams. Thing I learned. So I've been experimenting with different ways to do things. I've learned so much from that. I've learned so much from the writing and the reading I've done. So much growth has happened this year already. And I want to keep doing these things because I want the growth that comes with it. I want the clothes that I like to wear. And I want to learn my favorite way of doing it. You know, I essentially made 3 circle skirts this year. Like a full circle skirt and 2 half circle skirts. And I finished them all in different ways. And I still don't know which one I like best. Like, I think I'm thinking a lot about the sewing right now because I have to make a lot of masks in the next couple of weeks for my friend. But yeah. That's my goal update / I rambled for 30 minutes. Oh wow. And there are a couple places, yeah, that's a lot. I'm sorry for taking up this much of your time. If you stayed all the way to the end, you have all of my love, which you do anyways. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, you are lovely. I love you. Have a beautiful day.